Welcome to Crime Beat. I'm Anthony Robart. Tonight, a BC teen's cry for help was heard around the world when her YouTube video went viral, highlighting her terrifying ordeal of harassment, sextortion, and blackmail.
The guy had been following her wherever school she was switching to. He just seemed to always know where she was going and who was around her.
And she was crying, she was hysterical, she was panicking, and she said, "Someone has a photo of my body."
You can never expect an image like that to be out there. Who would be doing this?
Kids going online and then offenders turning around and attempting to extort.
I felt so much guilt knowing that she felt this way and there was nothing I did to stop it.
What followed was a global search to find the man lurking in secret. Here now is Kamil Karamali with My Never-Ending Story, the legacy of Amanda Todd.
This is how the world was first introduced to Amanda Todd, a haunting video she posted to YouTube in 2012, the teen open and vulnerable, reaching out for help. Just a month later, by the time it went viral and millions around the globe had viewed it, it was too late. Amanda was dead. But why this tragedy happened and the ominous message she was trying to send would only be understood in the years after her death. Finding those answers would start here. The cozy and quiet community of Port Coquitlam, nestled in the Pacific Coast Mountains of British Columbia. Amanda's mother with a treasure trove of memories, her room left almost unchanged since her death, showing all the signs of a typical teenage girl.
I am Carol Todd. I'm the mother of Amanda Todd. Amanda was always one of those vivacious, spirited kind of child that you never knew what she was going to do or what she was going to get into, but if she had a bug in her brain, she would go for it.
Hi, my name's Amanda, and I always like to sing "O Canada" before I sing any song. Oh Canada.
She always loved music. We were I guess, an arts-rich family, but there was music all around us. She just gravitated to it, and it was her calming place. It was her happy place. Amanda got diagnosed with attention deficit disorder and oppositional defiance disorder. She tried us. She went to the next level. She always had to have the last word, which doesn't always work well with adults.
My name is Rachel Bush. I was best friends with Amanda from age around 10 to about 14. We would just webcam with each other and she would just sing to me the entire time. Every phone call she would sing a Taylor Swift song, Justin Bieber songs.
Amanda often shared her insecurities with Rachel. Online, she called herself Cutie Lover.
You're so pretty. I'm blah. LOL, sure. I'm so ugly. No, you're not. I get dumped a lot. LOL. What happened today? Got suspended. Don't tell anyone. LOL. Why? What'd you do? I cried so hard. A girl bullying me. So you got suspended for someone bullying you? Yes.
Hey guys, it's Amanda, and I'm going to be singing "Someone Like You." A lot of people have requested it, so I'm going to try it out. And I hope you guys like it.
But Amanda kept turning to music as her savior, and as her confidence kept growing in 2009, so did her audience. Before Instagram and TikTok, it was Blog TV, the platform used by teens to share their talent. And Amanda was hooked.
I see my reflection in the mirror. Why am I doing this to myself?
So she would send me the videos that she would post, and she would have them privatized first, and she would ask me, like, do you think this is good enough? Like, do you like my voice? And obviously, of course, she was a very, very good singer.
But at least one person watching wanted more. Found Amanda and befriended her, flattered her, complimented her, and over the span of a year, built her trust. And then kept asking her to do something else. Show her breasts. One night in December of 2010, a momentary lapse in judgment, one that would change the life of the 14-year-old. While on Blog TV, Amanda flashed for the camera. That's when her predator pounced. A quick screenshot.
December 2010 was when her image was placed on an adult pornography site because Amanda wouldn't share more video, wouldn't provide more video or performances for the online predator.
Her topless picture sent to all of Amanda's Facebook friends, including Amanda's mother.
It was a, oh my God, WTF kind of moment. Like, you can never expect an image like that to be out there, and your mind goes, who would be doing this? Why are they doing this? Why my kid?
And she was crying, she was hysterical, she was panicking, and she said, someone has a photo of my body. And she asked me, is there a way to delete it? Is there a way to, like, take it away from this person? Should I call the police? I don't want to call the police, I'm scared.
A young friend reported it to her mother, who called the RCMP, which led to them coming to my home, because an image like that of a minor is declared child pornography.
Coming up, after Amanda's life is turned upside down, police step in. But will it be enough to stop the anonymous figure lurking in the shadows? Welcome back. A teenage girl gives in to relentless pressure, only to find her picture posted online, forever changing her world. We now return to Kamil Karamali and the legacy of Amanda Todd.
A topless picture of Amanda Todd is circulating online, and she feels powerless to stop it. While the Coquitlam RCMP promised action, for Amanda, the torment was just beginning. Online, there was a barrage of bullying. At school, it was even worse.
You've got 12 and 13-year-olds who have no idea of the story behind it, and they start shaming Amanda, and they start calling her a whore and a slut, and as if that she was doing this on purpose. And so the bullying started, and the cyberbullying started, the name-calling.
Amanda tried to clear her name, posting this on Facebook.
I flashed about 200 guys on YouTube because they were begging, and I thought it wouldn't matter, and so I did. And when I did, I got all these compliments that made me feel beautiful. But then he came back and messaged me, and if I didn't do stuff with him on cam, he would send it to teachers, coaches, friends, and family. I've been sick. And then, so the cops came to my door at 4 a.m. and told me he posted it. I got texts from people saying, "Why did you do it?" I didn't. I wrecked my life over.
In spring of 2011, Amanda changed schools, but trouble followed. It was around that time her online tormentor returned, not from one, but from multiple accounts. One of them, a YouTube page. The username, I am back, miss me. The message,
guess who is back, miss me? So 5 shows of 30 minutes each, or the same thing happens again at your new school.
I think it was more of concern of there's multiple names coming out, being like, I have photos of you, I have this of you, like I can send it to everyone. There's many, many names.
I was friends with Amanda Todd. We went to Westview Secondary School. We both kind of had some troubles with bullying, and we would relate on that subject, and kind of just would open up with each other about some of the things that we were going through.
Amanda was victim to a bombardment of blackmailing attempts, most of it coming from one Facebook account. The name, Tyler Boo.
Forgot who I am? The guy last year made you change school. Got your door kicked in with cops in the morning. You will go through the exact same thing all over, or you can give me 3 shows and I will disappear forever. You know I won't stop until you give me those 3 shows.
The guy had been like following her wherever school she was switching to. He just seemed to always know where she was going and who was around her, and was just like knew how to get in touch with people at her school.
Amanda sends a public plea to her Facebook friends.
Please, I ask everyone that's getting a message saying, with a link of me, please, I'm begging everyone, do not send to anybody.
There was an instance where her perpetrator sent her an email that threatening that he was going to send her images to different schools and school administrators in 2 different school districts.
During this time when things were escalating, did you go to police and did they help?
Went to police every time.
What did they do?
Talked to her. The answer was still get her off social media, get her off her technology. Could they have done more? Probably.
You would hold my hand and sing to me.
We invited lead investigators and the Coquitlam RCMP to respond to allegations that they didn't do enough to stop Amanda's online harasser. They declined an interview. In fall of 2011, Amanda was starting a new school year. But after months of tormenting, her virtual harasser came through with his promise.
All those things you've been doing the last few hours won't stop the storm coming. Trust me, I will start in 2 days.
After Amanda refused to perform any so-called shows, her blackmailer put on a show of his own.
I remember waking up and seeing on my Facebook wall that he had posted that picture of her on my Facebook wall, and then it went into my Facebook feed and he had posted it on a bunch of people's walls. And then there was people commenting on it and things like that. Like, that was where I was shocked at the response that people were giving from that kind of post.
The pictures shared by an account under the name Austin Collins, even using it as his profile picture.
First was just like disgust. Like, it was disturbing when people were turning it to her and insulting her and just making rude comments about her.
Amanda goes into full defense mode.
He sent the picture out. If you get the picture, I'm asking everyone to not send it. Tell your parents or call the police. I got my life ruined, and I really don't want it to happen again because it was the most hardest thing I have ever went through.
Amanda was starting to rise up to him, argue back, call him a pedophile.
Go ahead, pedophile. Send my picture. But I hope you feel guilty that you're ruining a young girl's life and you're sick. I hope you feel like real after you do this. It's gonna be hard for me to show my face.
The cyberbullying started all over again, and so it was very hard for her to make friends and build new relationships without her past coming back to haunt her. Her mental health started taking a toll out of her emotional health.
In one incident, Amanda's mom says a group of girls swarmed Amanda, beating her up outside her school.
We went to the hospital. They said she had a mild concussion. That assault began the deep down spiral of Amanda. The offense of her predator was the start of her mental health breakdown. Amanda wanted friends. She just wanted acceptance, and she found the wrong players out there.
Amanda changed schools again for the third time in just over a year, but the online bullying followed, and she felt defeated.
Congrats, you ruined my life, but someday you're gonna get something back.
He wasn't going to let go of her. He didn't stop harassing her until February or March of 2012.
Amanda began to self-harm in more ways than one. In this video, Amanda is seen cutting her forearm.
July of 2012, she had been previously put on, in the months before, some antidepressants to get her going again, right? And she found them and took many of them. We called the paramedics, and they took her to the hospital for observation, and so that was another suicide attempt. And so now it's compounding. It's horrible to watch your own kids suffer and not be able to do as much as you can to bring them out of it. Like a snap of a finger wasn't going to work. It was going to take a lot of work for something to bring her back. So she spent the summer in the house. I didn't know she was planning this creation of her YouTube video, but that's what she spent the summer doing, writing her words out on the little cards.
Coming up, as Amanda's life is spiraling, would her plea for help go unanswered? Welcome back. After an online tormentor publishes Amanda's nude photo and sends it to her classmates, the teenager hits a breaking point. We now return to Kamil Karamali with The Legacy of Amanda Todd.
With her mental health spiraling, Amanda reached out once again to her online audience. This time, instead of singing, there was silence, only written words, a cry for help.
Amanda had a suicide attempt September 8th. So I took her to the hospital the next day, and the hospital said, "This is your third time here, or second time here, what do you want us to do?" And they kept her, and they put her in one of the adolescent psych units in one of our community hospitals. And so Amanda stayed there for 10 days and got counseling, got some treatment, and she appeared a lot better when she got out, renewed energy. And then when she got out and she got back on her social media, she saw some hurtful messages that were being spread around, which then I believe spiraled her again.
What did those messages say?
That she was crazy, that she was a psycho bitch.
What ultimately ended up happening to Amanda?
She was released from the hospital on September 18th of 2012, and on October 10th of 2012, she died by suicide.
Honestly, it was like instant regret. I went onto our Facebook messages and I just went through it and I just cried, because it was one of those situations where I was like, she was just here. Like, I could have stopped this. I felt so much guilt knowing that she felt this way and there was nothing I did to stop it. And I know now I couldn't have prevented it, but at the same time, like, she shouldn't have felt like she was alone.
It was pretty devastating to find out. I hadn't found out right as it happened. I found it on social media that it happened. I remember seeing it on Facebook, and then just not believing that that could be true.
The Maple Ridge Memorial for Amanda Todd is full of sadness mixed with anger and regret.
But I knew that she was a really sweet girl, and she didn't deserve any of the torment that she got.
I don't feel like she killed herself. I think other people killed her, and I think that's the saddest part about it.
It was something, her smile or what she said or her laughter or her humor, and she had quirky humor, and someone always found the side of Amanda that they liked and that they wanted to remember. It made her sad how people could judge her that way. She realized the error in her actions, but that error couldn't be erased because it was on the internet. I was stunned by the number of candlelight vigils that were happening for my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter. And so it wasn't just community vigils, it was vigils like across Canada, in India, in the United States, in different countries. And that's when I knew how far-reaching this Amanda story had become. And it was almost like people felt a part of the story if they had been bullied or cyberbullied or sexually harassed or abused. Like, there was a piece of Amanda's story that other people internalized and could relate to.
Social media, still in its infancy, was taking its toll on kids, and child advocacy groups say Amanda's death was the linchpin. Something needed to change.
At the time, absolutely. It really was the Wild West. You would click on a link that somebody had shared. You had no idea what was going to be behind it. You're interacting with people through these message boards, these anonymous message boards.
We were just starting to see this idea of live streaming and capping. So kids going online thinking that you're seeing me live and once it's over, it's over. And then offenders using applications or what have you on their side to record the interaction and then turning around and attempting to extort or threaten for more imagery out of these kids.
The RCMP had shared with us that this online offender was being traced into the United States. Too hard to find, take too much time, manpower. They couldn't do it. So, sorry. Best thing to do is keep Amanda off the internet.
Seeing the agony she was going through, how did you find that as a response from police?
Horrible. And at the time, it was, I trusted law enforcement. Thinking back now, it was a poor answer. But also the response that I get is that this was back in 2010, 2011. Knowledge about online offenders and how to find them was less advanced than they are now. But this is my kid, right? You're telling me that her case file got closed because you couldn't do anything more, so that's horrible. It's horrible. Could she be alive? Maybe.
It was really that we now had this tool that was incredibly powerful, that in fact a lot of adults can't manage properly, that we were handing to children with no guardrails. So we started to see the results of that in maybe 2010, and it started to get progressively worse from there. This was the first time we were really starting to, in fact, lose children to this issue. So where harm occurs online and they feel like their only way out is tragically to end their lives. And it was really a call to examine what laws we had in place.
The same year Amanda died, Facebook launched an anti-bullying awareness campaign, and a motion was introduced in the House of Commons to study the scope of cyberbullying across the country. The results eventually led to the introduction of Bill C-13, making it illegal to distribute intimate images of a person without their consent. Police also started flexing more power, working with social media giants to track down sexual predators by finding multiple user accounts under the same IP address. But for Amanda Todd's family, the wait for justice would continue. It wasn't until the spring of 2014, a year and a half after Amanda's death, there was a bombshell.
I actually got a message from someone in the Netherlands who told me that someone had been arrested and that Amanda's name was attached to it.
Coming up, Amanda's mother goes to the Netherlands to face off against her daughter's accused blackmailer. Welcome back. Amanda Todd's family finally learns the name behind the shadowy figure that tormented her for years before her death. We now return to my never-ending story, the legacy of Amanda Todd.
Dutch police have arrested a man in connection with the death of Port Coquitlam teenager Amanda Todd.
The suspect was arrested by Dutch authorities in the Netherlands. He was charged yesterday in his home country, and he is now facing charges in Canada as well.
The National Public Prosecutor's Office in the Netherlands announced criminal proceedings against a 35-year-old male in relation to those offenses in Amsterdam on April the 16th of this year. Today, BC Crown Counsel laid a series of criminal code charges against the same 35-year-old male in connection with the Amanda Todd investigation.
This is truly a day that we've been waiting for, to hear that something has come out of a case, Amanda's story. I always knew deep in my heart that what my daughter told was the truth.
I'm just really glad that we finally have a suspect arrested, and hopefully we can get some justice out of it.
And then in April 2014, when I found that there was a name attached to the online offense to Amanda, it was like, wow. And then to find out that the fellow was international and lived in the Netherlands, it was like another bomb drop of, wow, this is like big news. And that's when I found out that they had caught a perpetrator by the name of Aiden Coban.
My name is Matthijs Pennings. I'm a journalist for Omroep Brabant, and I was the first journalist who broke the story on Amanda Todd.
How were authorities in the Netherlands tipped off about Aiden Coban?
In 2013, they got a tip from Facebook. They made a report that all these young girls were harassed, also by IP addresses that were connected to the Netherlands. They broke into the bungalow where he was staying, the police, and they installed a keylogger software. And with that, they could follow anything that he would type on his computer, but it would also make screenshots every 30 seconds when he was using his mouse. So that's how they could read all the chats that he had with young victims. After that, they worked together with the UK, a police officer from the UK undercover chatted with him, acting as a young girl. So when that chat was ongoing, they knew that he was in his house, like behind his computer. So then the police came into his house and arrested him.
Dutch police allege Aiden Coban had dozens of victims from around the world. At the time, none of their names were released publicly.
And there were about 30 to 40 victims of that they knew of. It was by talking to sources I found that were like connected to this investigation that one of them told me, yeah, there is one case that is known. Yeah, he said something about Canada, and I recently saw something on TV about Amanda Todd.
Aiden Coban's trial began in 2017, nearly 8 years after Amanda's tormenting began. But the BC teen would not be one of the alleged victims in this trial. Coban would have to be tried separately in Canada for that case.
During the trial, we learned more about that, and what he did was he was acting like he was a teenage boy. As soon as he learned the actual name of the victims, then he would go to their Facebook accounts, and then he would look up all their friends, their family. He would all make like screenshots of it, notes of it, so he would know the circle around this person. Then he would do webcam stuff with them, and then he would save all the material he got, like all the videos. And then later he would act as if he was the dad of the young kid, and he would blackmail them and force them to transfer money to him. And in some cases, I think he got like 8,000 to 10,000 euros from these men.
My name is Tessel Linders. I'm a Dutch reporter, and I covered the Amanda Todd story from 2015 up to now. It was so hard to wrap your mind around that this silent, lonely guy in the Netherlands could destroy so many lives from this tiny house in Tilburg. We never had a story like this before. I think that Amanda's story made us realize for the first time the danger of the World Wide Web. So when the trial started, we had victims from all over the world, from Norway, England, the United States, Canada. The courtroom was literally packed with people from all over the world. Reporters from different countries, the whole Dutch writing press. And I think also because Carol was there. Carol, Amanda's mother, that also made the media circus even bigger. So it was huge. It was huge.
When I saw him eyeball to eyeball, I was really glad that I did it. That I saw him. One of my biggest moments was, you picked the wrong girl to pick on, because I have fought for this for years.
9 weeks, more than 70 charges involving 39 alleged victims, 34 young women, and 5 gay men.
What made the case maybe even more heartbreaking was the fact that Aiden Coben had all these different aliases. He was not only Kelsey on Facebook, but he also had a whole bunch of different names. And what I found really horrific, that he made friends with the young girls.
The Dutch man accused of cyberbullying Port Coquitlam teen Amanda Todd has been sentenced to jail in the Netherlands.
Aiden Coban sentenced in a Dutch court to nearly 11 years in prison for cyberbullying dozens of young girls and gay men. According to Dutch reports, the court ruling labeled the 38-year-old's actions appalling, cruel, and ruthless.
Prosecutors wanted him behind bars for as long as possible, so they asked for the maximum sentence. 10 years and 8 months in prison. 34 minor girls and 5 adult men who he blackmailed. 10 years and 8 months, is that a lot for destroying 39 lives? Probably not, but it's the maximum sentence in the Netherlands.
I was glad that he had to pay a price. See, I was sitting in on that trial as objectively, because Amanda wasn't a victim named in that trial. So I was able to speak openly about what was happening there. One of my emotions was disgust in his behavior in court, of insolence and rudeness, and that superiority.
But now it would turn into a battle to bring him to Canada to face justice.
So it was a long wait about what would happen. Was he appealing to delay everything, or? And he had every right. I thought it would never happen. Never.
Then finally the news Carol Todd had hoped for.
Some possible justice for the family of Amanda Todd, the Coquitlam teenager who took her own life after nude pictures of her were posted to the internet.
Today, a Dutch court ruled that Aiden Coban can be extradited to Canada to face charges here related to her case.
I think it's a positive step, but I know that there's many more steps to go.
Coming up, Aiden Coban is on his way to a Canadian courtroom where Amanda's friends and family will hear how her alleged tormentor harassed her. But will they see justice? Welcome back. Amanda Todd's alleged tormentor is found guilty of sextortion in a Dutch court. But will Amanda's family finally see justice at home? Here now is Kamil Karamali with a conclusion of the legacy of Amanda Todd.
It's been more than 8 years since 15-year-old Amanda Todd hanged herself. Aiden Coban now on Canadian soil to face justice in the cyberbullying case of the Port Coquitlam teen. Coban was extradited from the Netherlands to BC December 7th.
Aiden Coban was extradited to Canada in 2020, but it would be more than 2 years until he would go before a jury.
Aiden Coban was charged with the criminal harassment, extortion, and luring of Amanda Todd, what some people would call sextortion. And then related to that, Mr. Coban was also charged with possession of child pornography and with possession for the purpose of distribution of child pornography.
Today, the trial of the man accused of cyber extortion of the 15-year-old got underway.
Chris, absolutely disturbing, vivid evidence of what this child allegedly endured before she committed suicide in 2012.
Crown told the 12-member jury Amanda was the victim of a persistent campaign of online sextortion for 3 years, November 2009 to February 2012. 22 different phony user accounts on 4 platforms.
I was determined as a mom that I would go to court every single day in my daughter's memory to make sure that the perpetrator got what he deserved.
So I think to this day, I still blame him. I still blame him not for her suicide, but I blame him for making her feel like she was so much less than who she really was.
The 6-week extortion and harassment trial continued Tuesday, with the Crown calling 6 witnesses to the stand.
The Crown prosecutors present their case, taking the jury through a trail of digital breadcrumbs, links between dozens of online aliases used to harass Amanda, pulled from the computer seized from Coban's home back in 2014.
A big part of the prosecution theory in this case was that there was a single person. The defense theory was this could have been multiple different people. And even if Mr. Coban was connected to this phone number over here, it doesn't mean he was behind the email to Amanda Todd.
Defense wrapped up closing arguments today, this after 2 days of poking holes into Crown's case, identity being one of the key issues.
2 months after the trial began, it was up to the jury to reach a verdict.
After waiting 10 years for justice, a jury has delivered it for Amanda Todd and her loved ones in less than 24 hours. The Dutch national accused of extortion in connection to Todd's case found guilty on all counts today.
You could hear the heavy breathing down the hallway as people were racing back into court for the verdict. It was a dramatic ending which caught everybody off guard. In the courtroom, Amanda Todd's mother lets out a huge yes as a jury foreperson reads the words guilty 5 times.
There are no words that can explain how my heart feels. It's just a culmination of what Amanda endured and the truths of it all.
Coban would be handed his sentence a couple of months later.
Tears and hugs in courtroom 209 when Justice Devlin's bold decision came down. The judge sentencing 44-year-old Aiden Coben to a 13-year jail sentence.
And so here we are, October 14th, 2022, and the judge just imposed a sentence that was higher than what Crown asked for. That was amazing. It was amazing because it was justice for Amanda and justice for all. This will make a difference in the world for the kids, and I have to hope that Amanda's watching from somewhere to see what her voice did for everyone.
I still think it could even be more. It really needs to be hit hard. It's a big problem, and hopefully this does take it to that higher level.
When Mr. Coban was extradited to Canada, the Netherlands made it a condition that he would be returned to the Netherlands to serve his sentence. Additionally, part of his extradition was an agreement by Canada that they would allow the sentence to be transferred to the Netherlands.
Amanda's case had come to a close, but now there's growing concern there will be more victims like her.
When we look at those behaviors from the time of just before 2020 to now, we in our own data have actually seen over a 400% increase in bullying and cyberbullying behaviors.
Well, the internet has to be regulated. It's that simple. This just can't continue. We are seeing kids basically being annihilated online. We're getting 300 reports a month related just to the issue of sextortion alone.
Carol now speaks to kids and parents about combating cyberbullying, creating a foundation in her daughter's name.
I never thought that she would make such big impact, that she would be remembered, that she would be synonymous with cyberbullying and sextortion and exploitation, that I would be caught up in a whirlwind of sharing Amanda's story, that I'd be put on a platform to talk about the topics that affected Amanda. I want Amanda's legacy to continue sharing her story and what happened to her and having it create conversations that we can learn from, that we will delve further into knowing more about. Then her life wasn't lost for nothing. Amanda wanted people to get along, and she wanted peace and harmony, and she never got that. We're doing this for her.
So tell me a bit about the significance of this bench.
Well, the bench is a remembrance of Amanda. It's sort of a place where I can go, I can see the bench, I can think of her, I can remember her, but also for her friends and anyone else who wants to reflect on their life or remember Amanda and her stories. It's a place for them to come. That's peaceful, that's harmonious.
Never mind, you'll find someone like you.
I want you to meet Amanda.
All the while keeping Amanda close by, her ashes where Carol can always talk to her.
Don't forget me, I'll play, I'll remember you say.
Her voice now not just one of a teenage girl in pain, but used as a force for change.
Sometimes it hurts instead, yeah.
In March of 2023, British Columbia introduced the Intimate Images Protection Act, allowing courts to order social media companies to remove nude photos. Amanda's story is still believed to be one of the reasons lawmakers continue to enhance protective measures. Her memory also kept alive through the Legacy Society created in her name, and awards given out every year to local college students, including a Music Therapy Award of Distinction.
You would hold my hand and sing to me.
I'm Anthony Robart. Thank you for joining us tonight on Crime Beat. Want more episodes of Crime Beat? Listen to the Crime Beat podcast now for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. And for past episodes of Crime Beat, go to the Global TV app, visit globaltv.com, or check out our Crime Beat YouTube page.